Hey there, friends and enemies, Jopa here again, and recently we got some pretty interesting news about Marathon, the upcoming extraction shooter from Bungie, and this game feels like a real breakpoint moment for the studio as it falls at a time where Destiny 2 is struggling just a bit. We do have some future ideas on what content is going to look like for Destiny 2, but it is clear that Bungie needs a win with Marathon, or else they will probably not fold as a studio, but instead fall firmly under the Sony umbrella, with them dictating the direction of the studio going forward. So whatever you think about that, whether you do believe that'd be a good thing or a bad thing, remains to be seen. But Marathon is definitely an important time frame for this studio. The game is supposed to launch in 2025, and we did get some recent news that I find pretty interesting. The game is potentially going to be launching at $40. Now, this is something that I feel like people are overreacting to as a price point because of the failure of Concord, while forgetting that Helldivers 2 launched earlier this year at $40 and was an immense success, showing that people will pay for games of this nature under a couple different conditions. First off, if the game is doing something unique or interesting that can grab people's attention, and secondly, if gamers feel like it is value for money. So the first case means that Concord is a anomaly almost, because the game was in development for so long, and I really feel like it entered into a space where everyone just assumed the game would be free to play. But you have other extraction shooters that do cost money already, so that is a price point at $40 that I don't necessarily think is a bad thing for Concord. Also, keep in mind that there aren't a ton of console extraction shooters, and Bungie is famously known for how their weapons feel. So if we have an extraction shooter that finds a new audience on console as well as PC, has the feel of the weapons from Bungie that we all know and love, and provides some interesting gameplay loops, I think the $40 price point would be reasonable. Now, does that mean it will be successful? No. A lot of it will depend on the upcoming marketing, the way the game appeals to different gamers, how it's received and promoted by streamers and content creators and all that kind of good stuff. There's a lot there to think about before we know how well this game is going to perform. But I don't think the $40 price point would necessarily preclude it from being successful, especially with this type of game. We've seen how Escape from Tarkov monetizes their game, and it's quite insane. So if the game is good and people enjoy it, they will pay the $40. This isn't the case where it's competing with other free-to-play games that are just significantly better and dominating the market. Now, a couple other things to note about this price point and also what to expect from the game. So, a lot of talk was that Marathon at $40 would be a hero-based extraction shooter, which sounded like a major issue, but instead it does look like there are going to be classes, as you would see in something like Destiny, so that would make a ton of sense. So instead of a fully customizable character, you have a starting class that you can upgrade over time. You won't have individual heroes or characters that you are pre-selecting. So this sounds very interesting, and I think is a better way to go, as the classes would all have their own abilities, including a special or ultimate ability. So this would allow for different playstyles and likely better balancing than just free reign of any ability in the game. So I do feel like that is a potential success point for Marathon, because Bungie is familiar with planning a game around classes, so having these be classes that you can upgrade and have something to grind for, I think is a good idea. Core gameplay structure is similar to games like Escape from Tarkov, but with the Bungie twist. I don't know what that means. That's according to a source. Currently, 2 maps are in a playable state, one set on the planet in an abandoned colony and the other aboard the Marathon ship. Unclear if it will be only maps at launch or they plan to include more. A lot of people who have been playtesting the game already have said that the game definitely feels like it's worth the $40 price point. And I think if it is as successful or even nearly as successful as something like Helldivers 2, then obviously they would sustain this game for quite some time going forward. And I think with the ups and downs of Destiny 2, Bungie has learned, hopefully, the lesson that these indefinite live service games that receive constant updates, especially story-based, are almost unsustainable. You have to pay for the cutscenes, the voice acting, everything like that. It is wildly expensive, and instead the focus should be on the gameplay with Marathon, especially because gamers who enjoy extraction shooters are not necessarily the same as those who would look for a single-player story. So regular playtests and everything seem to be positive overall recently, although there was talk about 6 months ago that the game had been struggling, so who knows where it lies now. Hopefully they have gotten it to a place where it is looking like it's in good shape right now. So they are really putting extra effort over at Bungie into Marathon's new player experience because Destiny 2 has such a problematic new player experience. So I do feel like they're going to try to onboard and allow for new players to join at any point in whatever way they can, which hopefully would be a good thing, because you definitely need new players, as players who have been on the game for months or years tend to lose interest or get burnt out, and then you need new players to jump in and take their place. So despite positive feedback, morale within Bungie remains low, which is understandable after the layoffs and the restructuring and everything that we've had. So we do know that Marathon has the potential to be successful. A lot of people have doubted Bungie at numerous times, but it seems like each time people do, they come through with some banger content. You look at The Final Shape, you look at Forsaken, you look at The Taken King. Every time that the game was looking like it was a struggle, they were able to respond with some really good content. And I hope Marathon is a great game, because I personally would love to play it. And a sci-fi extraction shooter that feels very polished and refined could be a ton of fun, but it remains to be seen. I'll definitely keep you up to date on whatever news we find out about the game going forward. Supposedly another trailer is in the works, and hopefully we get it by the end of the year. I would hope at the very latest at the Game Awards, so that way we can really see what's in store for us. Maybe we get a bit of gameplay. It's been so long without a lot of information, with the understanding that it's supposed to launch in 2025. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe as always. My name is Jopa. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.